We're down to 2 divisions left, and we break down the AFC North today here on Four Verts. My name is Harrison Graham, as we'll take a look at Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. This is how the division broke down a year ago. The Ravens pulled away at 12-5. Pittsburgh made a wild card at 10-7. Cincinnati just missed out at 9-8, and then Cleveland brought up the rear at 3-14. Is this the year that Baltimore breaks through and gets back to a Super Bowl? I think there's a pretty decent chance this is the year because I think they're loaded. I thought Lamar Jackson took a step forward in the playoffs last year. Still had a couple of turnovers against the Bills, but it was definitely the best he had played in a high-leverage playoff game. And if Mark Andrews catches that two-point conversion, by the end of that game, the Ravens were the stronger team. They just kind of ran out of time, and then they would have gotten a crack at the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game for a second straight year. So I think you've seen signs the last couple of playoff runs of Lamar playing better in these big spots. He's got a lot of talent around him. I think the Derrick Henry acquisition last year was massive. Zay Flowers continues to get better. Rashod Batemen's coming off his best year. We'll see how much DeAndre Hopkins has left, but I think as a red zone threat, he'll be good. Then they have 2 excellent tight ends and a good offensive line. So their offense is loaded, and so is the defense. Remember last year, the first half of the year, it was like, God, what's going on with the defense? It took Zach Orr a couple of months to kind of feel things out, but the second half of last season, they were the best defense in the NFL. They played absolutely fantastic, so I expect them to hit the ground running early on this year. This team, this roster is loaded from top to bottom. It's an excellent staff, and I think Lamar getting even better these last couple of years. A big part of that is Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, who is back again. He did not land a head coaching job, so that is huge for the offensive cohesion as well. Really, the only question for me is, can Lamar play his best in the playoffs? He played better last year. Can he play even better in the postseason? Because the margins, they shrink in the postseason. One bad throw here, a strip sack there, that could be the difference in the game. So I'm high on Baltimore this year. We'll get to my official pick for who wins this division, but I think they're going to be tough to beat in the AFC North. Subscribe to the channel. We're pumping out daily NFL content, the latest NFL news, rumors, trade buzz. We've been doing these division previews. College football weekend coming up. We'll have some college football coverage for you guys as well. All you got to do is subscribe, turn on notifications. We got you guys covered. All right, pivotal year in Pittsburgh. I think it is, at least. And, you know, there's people out there that say they would never move on from Mike Tomlin. And look, the Steelers don't like firing coaches. They have 3 coaches in 50 years. I certainly understand that sentiment. But to me, when you bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and I think Mike Tomlin was a big part of that, there's a lot of mutual respect between Rodgers and Tomlin. That's kind of an all-in, go-for-broke move, is it not? And when you haven't won a playoff game since 2016, they've lost 6 straight playoff games. They're kind of scrambling for answers because it's kind of a blessing and a curse that Mike Tomlin's had for years now, is that they haven't been bad enough to just bottom out and have the ability to draft a quarterback in the top 5 to jumpstart the rebuild, because even with bad QBs like Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Duck Hodges, Mason Rudolph, they've still been able to win 9-10 games, but the downfall of that is you have no chance to win in the playoffs with those guys, and you don't have a path to getting a good quarterback that you can build with long-term. Clearly, Rodgers isn't a long-term answer, but they are banking on him helping them get to the next level in terms of at least trying to win a playoff game. It did feel a little desperate, did it not? It's like they waited for months and months and months. Like, yeah, we'll just wait on Rodgers. We got Mason Rudolph if all else fails. It felt a little desperate, but I do think it's an upgrade over Russell Wilson. I don't view it as a big enough upgrade to like loft them into AFC contender status. And quite frankly, there's a world where it's just a disaster because the raw numbers looked pretty good last year for the Jets, but I did not think Aaron Rodgers played very well at all. We know the defense is there. If T.J. Watt and Jalen Ramsey are healthy, they're going to be elite. They got studs at all 3 levels of that defense. There's kind of a Cam Hayward contract thing going on right now, but hopefully that gets worked out and he's ready to go. But I like what they have on that side of the ball, obviously. And the question is simple. How much does Aaron Rodgers have left in the tank? Is it enough to go win a playoff game? Is it enough to make the playoffs? Is this the year where the streak ends, where Mike Tomlin finally goes below 500? The defense is certainly high-level playoff caliber. Is the offense? Can the O-line protect well enough for Aaron? Broderick Jones at left tackle? Not very proven, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all ends up playing out. All right, we'll break down the Bengals and the Browns next, but today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Football is finally back, and I'm fired up for all the games this weekend. I made some money last college football weekend. Shout out to my guy Josh Hoover, the Frogs. They helped me out, and now I'm ready to get the big boys going. All 32 teams, excited for that. It's very easy to play Prize Picks, as you just pick more or less on stat projections for 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Little 2-player lineup AFC North edition here for week 1. Joe Burrow, I got the more on his passing yards. They're going to be in a lot of shootouts this year, hopefully not against the Browns. More on them coming up in a minute. I got less on Aaron Rodgers' longest completion. 33.5 yards, that's a big play. Jets defense is pretty good, so I'll take the less on that. $20 entry to win 60 there. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started, but the easiest way to get started is download the app. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, Bengals. Can they bounce back? It's been a rough couple of years, and they went 9-8 last year, but Super Bowl appearance, AFC Championship appearance, Burrow gets hurt, missed the playoffs. Last year, defense is a joke, missed the playoffs again. Big year for Zach Taylor. We know Joe Burrow is going to play well. I think if they made the playoffs, he would have won the MVP last year after just putting up staggering numbers, 70% completion over that, almost 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns to 9 picks. He was absolutely fantastic. You could argue he's the best quarterback in the league, but again, they went 9-8, so you can't give the MVP to a guy who didn't even make the playoffs. It's been a hectic offseason for Cincinnati. They paid both of their receivers in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so Joe Burrow keeps his weapons happy, keeps them in town. And then they finally found a resolution for Trey Hendrickson as well. They didn't extend him, but they gave him an additional $14 million to give him $30 million for 2025. We'll see what that means long-term, obviously, but at least they have him locked in for this year. But speaking of Hendrickson, even with him last year, they were a joke defensively. Will the defense have any kind of a pulse? I don't expect this to be a good unit. Can it not be terrible? Can it be top 20? Can it be top 24? Because if it's bottom 5, I don't care how good Joe Burrow is. I don't care how good the receivers are and Chase Brown and that offense. I know that side of the ball is going to be fine. But you can't be atrocious in one of your 3 units, and they have been defensively the last year and a half. So that's what this is going to come down to. If they are just okay, I think this is a playoff team. If not, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. And also, they have to start the year faster than they have in previous years. And then there's the Browns. What is a realistic outlook for Cleveland this year? The only team I think is in a worse spot on paper heading into the year is the New Orleans Saints. At least the Browns do have Myles Garrett. But this quarterback thing is just bizarre. I mean, Joe Flacco's the starter for now. I think that's probably the right move. But you just wonder, like, how long until they go to Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders? Gabriel's the backup for now. And how long and how loud does the noise get? Because eventually I think they'll go to Gabriel, and the second he struggles at all, the fans are going to be begging for Shedeur because he's obviously this popular figure, right? And so how does Kevin Stefanski, how does Andrew Berry, how do they handle the noise? Because the noise is going to reign, and it's going to reign loud. I think this team's going to be really bad. I think they are going to be really, really bad. They have some individual talent. Obviously, Myles Garrett is fantastic. They have a couple good offensive linemen. Jerry Jeudy is a good player, but Quinshon Judkins, that thing isn't resolved. Jerome Ford is their starting running back. When Joe Flacco's your quarterback, you can't trot out Jerome Ford as your starting running back. That is just not going to cut it. So good luck. I don't think it's going to go well at all, and I think they're going to be in the mix to have the number 1 pick. All right, AFC North champs, who wins it? Type BAL for the Ravens, PIT for the Pittsburgh Steelers, CIN for the Bengals, and then CLE for the Cleveland Browns. Pick your champion. I think the Ravens win this thing fairly easily. I think they're going to win 13 or 14 games. I'm reluctantly going to pick Cincinnati to make the wild card, probably as the 7th seed. They'll win 9 or 10 games and sneak in there because Burrow will be great. The offense will be good. And hopefully just with the new DC, they're just slightly better. Slightly better, 5 to 10% better. They're a playoff team, so I'm going to bank on that. And then I think it ends with Mike Tomlin. I don't know if they necessarily go below 500, but I don't think they make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that that pursuit ends up paying off. And then Cleveland, like I said, going to be one of the worst teams in the league. All right, that's going to do it for 4 Verts. Our last division will be the NFC North, so be on the lookout for that. It'll go out before Sunday's games. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon.